Hello again. My name is William Davis. I'm with A.P.C Photography and AV Media Solutions. That is a very long name to say that I do a lot of live streaming and photography and am blessed to be able to do that in the Seattle community. So, that being said, why are we on today? First off, we're on because we're in Seattle and we all need coffee. And mine's 7-Eleven. I don't know what everyone else is doing. Number two, we're going to talk about trust. Trust yourself. Trust your decision and trust who you chose. A lot of my clients have chosen a great person to be their producer, their production manager, and then get a little weary because it could have been someone else in another team that didn't stand up and really accomplish what they wanted to. And they try to put their hands in a bunch of different places. Then what I mean by that is they want to be the producer and the production manager. At the same time, they've hired a production manager who's building a team for them. So this is going to be one of those hard conversations. We have these conversations with clients every once in a while. And when we do, it can either be magnificent or it can be changing for a lot of people. So when we talk about trust, you decided to work with a client and they decided to work with you. If you're a productions manager, first thing you need to understand is you got to give them a safe harbor. You have to give them some place where they can talk to you and develop the trust with you. On the other side of it too, if you are a client, it's very good to have trust in that safe harbor. What that really means is essentially you get an opportunity to discuss what you're looking for in the productions, which is very important because you are going to be producing maybe a gala, maybe just a big corporate meeting. Could be just a huge event on a pier and you just want good music, good sound, want everybody to be having fun. And, you want to be able to have everything in one package versus going through 6 or 7 different companies. Just kind of depends what you're trying to do. All that being said, we want you to have the best. And when I say the best, we want you to have the best experience you could possibly have. And to make that possible, you have to trust the people who are working for you. So when I say on this one here, trust your producer and your production manager, what I'm really talking about is give yourself an opportunity to trust the person who's working for you. If you tell them what you want done, you should be able to know they're going to get that done for you. You don't need to come in and rewrite the whole entire day, where we're going to put cameras, where we're going to do this, all those other things, because you made the decision that they're going to be the right person for you. Having input is one thing, in which we definitely want you to have that input, but on day of and things like that, let them know that you're still in that vision. That's what we were talking about earlier. That make sure that you worked with them and told them what you needed, so that they, on the day, the producer, the production manager, can accomplish your vision. And that's what this is all about. This trust thing. It is very difficult when you've got 15 different things going. So you got caterers, you've got someone who's going to be arranging all the guests coming in, you got graphics, you got everything else, and you want to make sure you have a great show, especially on the live stream side of it. You may have 50, 70, 200, 300, 5,000 people who are planned to see this show, and you want to make sure it looks great. And that's what we're here to do for you. Just tell us what you want to accomplish, and we'll make that happen for you. The other part is you have to trust that we're going to make those actions go forward. We may communicate with you and say, hey, we're moving cameras over here. We're doing this right here. We're doing it for this particular reason to make sure that you have a better view after we've got the event started. It could be that when we were talking in emails and we go, hey, we believe in this vision, but we want you to move this over here because we see where this could be a major ad for you. Trust the experience of the person you hired. We may have been in a situation and said, oh, okay, this angle is not really good. We're not going to be able to get the light we're looking for. This side of the room is going to have some weird quirks to it. So we have 2 options. We can add light or we can move the person. And those are the things that are going to make a huge difference. PA speakers, front of house. This is one of the biggest ones we run into when we're doing a full show. A lot of guests like to have the speakers back of the person who is speaking in a small auditorium because it just looks nicer. But when that happens, you have someone standing in front of the sound wave and we get really bad echo, or you'll get feedback like you wouldn't believe. So having to tell a client that we're going to have to move some speakers forward, move tables around, that tends to be like one of the harder ones to do. But once we've shown it and shown how it's a positive that this is going to work out better for them, they love it. It's just a matter of explaining how it can be. We've even used decorations and made those better so that it matches with the forum. Or we need a light. We need a panel light to, they wanted a specific area, which is where you got to trust your producer and productions manager. We have great exterior. I mean, just a beautiful exterior. And we want to keep that in the camera view. The only way to accomplish that is to add light to the front. So, for example, we can expose for outside the window, and then the person who's in front of the camera is really, really in a shaded area. So, the only way to fix that is to add some extra light. But say we're in a room where the auditorium is supposed to be the big, the big piece. We can do some spotlights for that, and we can put them up on a podium. We can put them on stands, and then when we do that, and this is a long explanation, but basically we can bring that light in, and then we'll have the person who's doing the decorations in there throw some tablecloths on it, throw some lights, throw some stuff on it that makes it match. And people are like, oh, that's pretty cool. The lights are up there. That makes it look good. And then we got the lighting and we got all this to match up. See, a producer and a productions manager, their whole job is to make your vision come to life. And you got to trust that they're going to do it. It's like an event planner. But the other aspect of it, they're the ones who have to make sure the absolute end of the event comes up. An event planner, in most cases, has to make sure that everything is getting coordinated together and it's going to gel into the event. But with us, and when we're doing the video production side of it, we have to make sure that not only do we have a great live event there, we have to make sure it comes up great on a whole separate audience. And that's what we do for you. So trust your production manager, trust your producer, because you made the choice to be with them. Now, here's the counterpart of this conversation. I know it's just, ranting on and stuff, but I'm trying to help people with this going into 23, 24, 25, because there's going to be so many of these hybrid, so many. And it's going to be so spectacular. We just did one the other day. Ooh-wee. That thing was a ton of fun. We had a live singer that went right on. Oh my God. Okay. Did you see the excitement on my face? So I'm going to tell you about this situation. We got told at the last moment. This is where you got to trust your production manager, producer. We got to get ASL in there. We have to get captions put into there, closed caption, live. Oh, by the way, we're adding in a live singer. We need to be able to have her singing. That's what she went by, her. She, her, and them is what she went by. We need her, them to be able to sing. On top of that, we want that in the room. We want that piped to ASL. We want that piped our sound going over to closed captioning. We also want just her singing, but we don't want the music to go through that. We also want anyone who's speaking, like any of our presenters speaking, to go through that, but we don't want the excess other stuff to end up on the live stream. Talk about a challenge. In the end, we accomplished. It was a ton of fun. Our team was able to do. Our production manager and producer for that show and our assistant production manager, we put together just this magnificent show. Online and in person, we got the mics going, we got the artists singing, we've got the presenters, we've got this, we've got that. But all this came together 96 hours before. 96 hours before. And the reason why we were able to accomplish what we accomplished was because the person who hired said, hey, I trust you. Make this happen. I'm not going to look back at you. There was no phone calls every few hours. Did you get this done? Did you get that done? We were troubleshooting multiple things. So if anyone understands this part, we had to run to accomplish this. And those who are in AV will understand what we just did. We had to run multiple splitters so we could get them showing on projectors. Oh, I forgot that part. We had to have ASL and closed captioning in the room on top of everything else. So PowerPoints, slides, all that. So we had 3 screens up. This is a fun part, but for the stream itself, we had to put all that into the stream too, in a specific way, in specific orders on the screen. So you know that where I've got my logo and where I've got trust you, that's basically how we had that. Trust yours. That's how we had the ASL and the other part up. which was pretty cool. It was the ticker going at the bottom was awesome. It was just fun. But we had to run a separate Zoom call for the ASL. We had to run audio to them off of another laptop, but I had to run a mix minus from the board to that. Then I had to run another mix minus to the captions. Then I had to run a master to the front, what we call master audio to the front of the house. And I had to run a second master. So we had two masters. So I had a master for the live stream and a master for the location. We had to run both of those at the same time. So we got those. Plus, you're going to have a director's headphones. Director, you have another set of headphones that's a master and a mix minus for a client. And then, of course, I've got to have my own. Talk about a lot of different things on the table. It was a ton of fun. It was a beautiful challenge. But the best part about it was we were trusted. We were trusted to accomplish the job, and we did. Had we had a ton of phone calls the whole entire time, we probably wouldn't have been able to get it done. And it's not because we weren't able to, handle it, but having the conversation of where we were having our challenges for that half a day that we went through to fix everything, we wouldn't have been able to do it. It would have taken us 3 days, and we wouldn't have had the time to get everything set up. And then the pre-prep. The pre-preparation is basically we pack up everything, get everything ready to go, and have it ready. Tested, mics tested, backup mics, which we had to use that day, by the way. We had to use backup mics. So they had mics at site. And this is where you got to trust your producer and production manager too, to have the extra. So, for example, they asked, why did we need 4 more mics that were wireless when they have the wireless mics there? We said, okay, no problem. We'll still have them prepped. We get there. Guess what didn't work? And it wasn't their fault. It was just the way that they were told when they had that audio situation set up by another professional, they could do something. Maybe in the setup, it was set up for one thing and it was misinterpreted for the other, because we got the audio separate from the computer feed, but we couldn't get that separate from the microphone. It wouldn't work right. So we had to utilize our own. Long of this is trust your producer, trust your production manager. Their whole job is to make you look fantastic, because you're already fantastic. You're already incredible. You're already magnificent. We just want to capture it and make sure everyone else can see it. So, long and short of it is, if you hire somebody to be your producer and your production manager, trust them to do their job properly. Now, if you find that someone is not doing it, and then you can always check in on them and see where you're at, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is replace them. Now, this next 5 to 7 minutes is going to be a very, very harsh conversation to production managers and producers. And this is going to be an empowerment conversation for clients. If you are a production manager, it is not about you. I'm going to say this one more time. If you are a production manager or a producer, it is not about you. It is 1,000, 100, 200, 400% about your client. If you are the client, your envisionment is 100% of the job of the production manager and producer. Let that sink in. If you are the client, your envisionment is 100% the job of the producer and the production manager. They are to listen and hear you, not just listen and be ready to say a comment right away. And that, to hear me out, production managers and producers, we are here in servitude of our clients. And in servitude, we are able to make things happen that are incredible. Now, for the client, I want you to hear this real quick. If your production manager and producer is not getting what you need done, and you're 25% into your timeline that you need to get stuff done by, and that's just not working, let them go. Let that team go. It's not worth it. Any really good production manager if you give them 75% of the time that they need, can get the job done. Then get it to it what we call the 90, the 80 and the 90, meaning it's just about where you're at. There's going to be the extra 10% is where your show goes over the top, the extras. But any really good production manager, if you give them 75% of the time they need, they'll be able to get the job done. It will be scrambling. Don't get me wrong, we'll be scrambling, but we'll get it done. But don't stick with a production manager for a long period of time just because you feel like, well, I've already put a deposit down. I've already done this. I've already done that. You know what? Sometimes that production, that fee and stuff, it's worth giving it up and going, eating it and moving forward with a better show. And for the production manager and producer out there, hey, if it happens to me, I earned that. If a client tells me this ain't working, I'm good, it it's not positive for them. So I will step away. And in the youth of my career, I had to step away a few times. I learned this lesson. So clients out there, potential clients, whoever you are, I've been through that lesson. It was a hard lesson. It was hard to eat. Ooh, to find out that I was not the right one. So anyone out there as a producer and production manager who gets mad at me as a business owner, been there, done that, lost a client because I did the wrong things. And I had to take a step back and realize that I work for the client doesn't work for me. That being said, our job is to be professionals. And so if you're a client and you want something done, list it out. Be direct. Be very, very, very specific, not vague. We can't interpret vague, by the way. Be very specific, and we will accomplish what you need to get done. Now, I got 3 minutes left on this because I was only going to do like a 20-minute one on this one here. Part of the trust is open communication. Please, changing subject real quick. Please communicate with what your needs are to us production managers, producers, business owners, so that we can accomplish what you need. Number two, as a client who's looking for a professional, remember you went with that professional because of the intellectual capital, not just because of the assets they have. As a production manager, remember you have the intellectual capital to produce what they need. Be frank, be fair, and let your client know you have those capabilities and you're there to protect them and give them what they need. And most importantly, everyone in this whole thing, when I say trust your producer and production manager, find the safe harbor conversation points so that you always have someplace safe to come back to if you both are in disagreement. So you have an avenue to work forward. Sometimes, you're 80% working together perfect and 20% off. That's a really good situation. It's way better than the 20% working together good and 80% off. I've rarely ever seen 100% where everything we're in 100% sync. But it is super nice when you've got good conversation going forward. You can have that. I want this. And the other one's like, I want this. And then you're like, I need to step away for 5 minutes. Let's come back. Let's go get a cup of coffee. And then, what coffee you want? And then you come back to the conversation like, you both had a chance to go, okay, well, I'm going to compromise here. And then I'm going to compromise there. And then we're going to come together. We're going to hit the vision. That's where that building up the safe harbor and trust, and it just makes a bigger island of trust so that you can work together in projects for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road. So once again, I want everyone to have a blessed day. Be great. Have good for you. Take care. And hopefully your 23, 24, 25, and possibly 26 is all taken care of. And you're going to have a great, great year in any of your needs on AV. Take care. Bye-bye now.